So far, we've talked about the rule book, the Constitution, but now we're talking about the game that's played on that field. This is the political process. You won't find the words Democrat, Republican, or Electoral College anywhere in the original Constitution. This is the system we've built on top of that blueprint. It's the messy, human process of how we actually choose our leaders and fight over what we want the government to do. The biggest players in this game are political parties. The easiest way to think of them is as teams for government. They are groups of people who share a general set of beliefs, and their number one goal is to win elections. They're not just a social club. Their entire purpose is to get their members hired by the people. That's you, the voter, so they can be the ones in charge of running the government. You've probably noticed that in the US, it's all about the big two, the Democratic donkey and the Republican elephant. Why is that? It's because our election system is winner take all. If you get 51% of the vote, you get 100% of the power for that seat. This makes it really hard for smaller third parties to get a foothold. So people tend to gravitate to one of the two big tents that have a real chance of winning. So what about the other parties, like the Libertarians or the Green Party? Are they just failures? Not at all. Third parties play a huge role in American politics. First, they are often idea factories, bringing up issues like climate change or the national debt that the big two parties are ignoring. Second, they can play the spoiler. In a close election, if a third-party candidate steals just 3% of the vote from one of the main candidates, it can cause the other main candidate to win. How do you know what a party team stands for? You look at its platform. A platform is the official stage or document that lists all the party's goals. Each individual goal is called a plank. So a plank might be, we want to lower taxes on small businesses. Another plank might be, we want to invest in solar energy. When you nail all those planks together, you have the party's platform. Period. You'll hear people talk about the left and the right. This is the political spectrum, and it's just a simple way to visualize a person's beliefs. In the US, the left is associated with liberals and the Democratic Party. They generally support more government involvement to solve social problems. The right is associated with conservatives and the Republican Party. They generally support less government involvement in the economy. Most people, however, are a mix, somewhere in the moderate middle. Now let's talk about interest groups. These are not political parties. They have one key difference. They do not try to win elections. Their goal is to influence policy on one single issue. The Sierra Club doesn't care about taxes. They only care about the environment. The NRA doesn't care about healthcare. They only care about gun rights. Their one-track mind is what makes them so powerful. So, what do these groups do? They lobby. Lobbying is just a fancy word for persuading. They hire people called lobbyists to go to Washington, D.C. and meet with members of Congress in the lobby, or their offices. Their job is to provide information, make arguments, and persuade that senator or representative to vote yes on a bill their group likes, or no on a bill their group hates. This all leads up to the main event of the political process, elections. This is where popular sovereignty, rule by the people, comes to life. This is the moment we grade our leaders. We can choose to fire them by voting them out, or rehire them for another term. In the US, we have two seasons. First is the primary season in the spring. That's the playoffs. Then comes the general election in November. That's the championship. Today, almost every citizen over 18 can vote, but it wasn't always that way. The history of America is the history of expanding that right. The 15th Amendment said you couldn't deny the vote based on race. The 19th Amendment gave women the right to vote. And the 26th Amendment lowered the voting age from 21 to 18. a response to the Vietnam War, where 18-year-olds were being drafted but couldn't vote. So how do you do it? In most states, you can't just show up on election day. You have to register first. This is just a way to prove you're eligible and to make sure you don't vote twice. Then, on election day, you go to your local polling place, which is usually a school, church, or library. You are given a secret ballot, which is the most important part. No one has the right to see who you voted for. Let's look at the playoffs, the primary elections. Before the championship in November, each party needs to pick just one candidate. This is the primary. You'll see 10 Democrats or 5 Republicans all running against each other, debating each other, and trying to prove they are the best choice to represent the team in the fall. Once the playoffs are over and each team has its champion, we have the general election. This is the Super Bowl of politics, held on the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November. It's the Democrat versus the Republican versus any third-party candidates. The winner of this election is the one who actually gets the job. But there's a huge exception. For every single election in America, governor, senator, mayor, the person who gets the most votes wins. Except for the big one, the president. We do not use the national popular vote, the total number of votes, to pick the president. We use a weird 230-year-old system called the Electoral College. So what is the Electoral College? Forget college. It's not a school. It's a group of 538 special voters called electors. To become president, a candidate must win a majority of these 538 votes. The magic number is 270. It doesn't matter if you win the popular vote. If you don't get 270 electoral votes, you cannot be president. How do we get the 538 electors? It's simple. Every state's number of electors is their number of representatives in the House, plus their 2 senators. So a high population state like California gets a ton of electors, 55, and a low population state like Wyoming only gets 3, 1 rep plus 2 senators. When you vote in November, you're not really voting for the candidate. You're voting for a list of electors who have pledged to vote for that candidate. And here's the part that makes it so crazy. In almost every state, it's winner take all. Let's say a candidate wins the popular vote in Florida by 50.1% to 49.9%, a razor-thin margin. Do they get 50.1% of the electoral votes? No. They get 100% of Florida's 30 electoral votes. This is why candidates don't care about safe states. They only visit the swing states where the vote is 50-50. This winner-take-all system creates a weird situation. It is 100% possible for a candidate to lose the national popular vote, meaning more Americans voted for their opponent, but still win the 270 electoral votes needed to become president. This has happened 5 times, including in 2016. This is the main reason why the Electoral College is one of the most debated and controversial parts of our entire system. Running for office is a marathon. For over a year, candidates are campaigning. They're giving speeches, shaking hands, and running endless TV commercials. To pay for all of this, they need funding. We're talking billions of dollars. This money has to be raised from individual citizens, from interest groups, and from political parties. The question of whether this money corrupts the system is one of the biggest debates in American politics. So, after all that, what's your role? The entire system, from the Constitution to the game of elections, is built on one idea: we the people. This machine doesn't run without you. Your job is not just to complain about it. Your job is to participate in it. That means you have to stay informed. You have to register to vote, and on election day, you have to show up and do the one thing that gives you ultimate power: vote.